My name is Jeffrey Dugarden. I'm living in southern Mexico, and I've been exposed to different ideas and criminal ideas that might be used in the development of artificial intelligence. The academics in universities in the United States have not been exposed to all the kind of thinking that might be possible in Mexico and many other places on the planet. This presentation is about artificial criminal intelligence. And I'm coming to you from southern Mexico, where I've gotten a lot of different information and input. And I think the AGI that's been presented on YouTube is been done by nerds and academics and blowhards of the academic sort that completely and essentially miss crucial points. And I'm going to try to talk about the cartel organizations in Mexico versus the US military to illustrate the problems with what's being presented. I've watched over 150 AGI videos, and I think they miss the essential point of the criminal elements. They view this as an academic program. Criminals hell-bent on using robots to fight wars, to destroy developing countries, to rob people of their businesses, and to gorge on profits. Mexicans, Colombians, and other Latin cartels are planning on how to destroy the US military, and should they attack the drug labs that are spread out in many, many pueblos in Mexico. Part of the problem is Trump has made lots of enemies in Mexico and elsewhere. And he keeps talking about invading and using US military to bomb the neighbor to the south, bomb the drug lab, which will result in lots of people dying, lots of innocent people dying. At this time, there's estimated 175,000 people on the payroll of the various cartels in Mexico, netting something like $2 billion per year in income from their nefarious work. Artificial criminal intelligence, not general intelligence, is probably more important and more appropriate to consider what is the future of AGI. Does anything characterize American culture more than guns and drugs? New television shows constantly rely on guns, bullets, murder as entertainment. We're one of the few cultures, American cultures, that use, let me stop a minute. I'm pausing too much, I think, don't you?
No. Que sí, él está apostando mucho por ti.
Está muy bien.
Sí.
Okay. I'll return. Guns, bombs, as entertainment is really unique to American culture. Yet I watch the academic discussions about artificial general intelligence, and it's as the threat is really robots becoming too intelligent and taking over from humans to protect us from ourselves. It's as if the criminal class worldwide doesn't exist. So what is the cartel's countermeasure to the US military if they should use the military resources of the United States to enter Mexico and to try to use gunplay to take over the cartel's business? The cartels are already hiring young, patriotic Latin engineers. The plan is to strike the US military with drones spreading germs and unlikely robots that are equipped with explosive, using small robots that don't look like robots to distribute drugs and as weapons. The key countermeasure to Trump's use of military force would be AI that creates disease analogs and spreads germs such as unique germs of dengue fever, COVID, or even influenza to debilitate the troops from the United States. You do not want to kill your adversaries in these kind of situations. If you can get people sick, it impedes the military power of, in this case, the United States, and makes the military take care of soldiers who are sick rather than dead. In classic military situations, you kill the enemy. That's not productive. The more advanced thinking is you make them ill and debilitate them, so you have to take care of them. At this point, the United States is co-developed with the cartels to spread the drug trade. For the size of the drug trade, which is immense in Mexico, there has to be an equal proportion or even greater, because the consumers are on the United States side. And what is happening now is guns are being shipped south by the millions, and drugs are going north. And less than 5% are captured or interdicted. It's very easy when robots are a little more perfected to, using social media will make the distribution of drugs and other criminal activities simple using robots. The use of social media will create, with a little imagination, distribution networks for all sorts of criminal enterprises. Instead of focusing on what criminal elements might do, the experts, quote experts, are talking about humanoid robots and this really far-fetched idea of female companions, as if that were a big part of the robotic development field. Criminals will use flying robots, they will use rodents, dogs, bats even, simplified creatures that don't attract attention to distribute or disrupt the activities of their opponents. What is real? AI, artificial intelligent robots with specific skills, are being proposed to be sold for $20,000 by Elon Musk and Tesla, for example. 24-hour AI robots, which will do repetitive assembly line drudgery, fast food slavery, data input boredom, are the kind of robots that corporations will be hungry for because the economic benefits are extraordinary. Specialized robots, AI robots, won't get tired, won't join unions, won't go on strike, and won't cause other management problems. They become perfect employees. Reasonable think tank experts estimate in the first 5 years, 20 to 40 million robots will replace human workers in the USA alone. 20 to 40 million workers without jobs. A mess. It will cause chaos. State and city governments in the US can't even take care of 1 million homeless people sleeping in tents on streets. They keep trying to shovel the responsibility to others for homelessness. What happens when the city governments are confronted with 20 to 40 million unemployed when they can't take care of the homeless populations we have already on the streets? The answer is disaster. Interestingly, the drug cartels and the city administrations have certain interests in common. One is drugs. If millions of people can be provided with somas, pacifying drugs that are not lethal, but function just as visionary George Orwell predicted in 1984, they will create a bemused and passive population. So both the drug cartels and the city governments will be all for somas. It's important somas cannot be lethal. The drug distributors want drugs that make people happy but functional so that they can continue buying drugs and bringing in profits. And from a government point of view, you don't want drugs that are so potent that they have to be illegal and people have to go to jail, which is very expensive. Governments do not want to spend lots of money on unemployed people. Governments will embrace distractions. Sports, stars like Hollywood stars or porn stars, and drugs and entertainment. Why not have big lotteries of sports for the unemployed? The academics that explore artificial intelligence don't think of a vast angry population of 20 to 40 million with criminal or revolutionary intent. That's why you need SOMAs. Think of, on a world basis, Iranians will be very interested in robots that can attack the United States. Many other groups, dissident groups, will use them in the same way. The airheads that design female companions, that design these pointy-chested, vacuous-minded robots are promoted as the future. When any female companion would be wildly expensive to produce. They're not like AI robots that are working in factories. These designers are the kind of guys designing female robots that couldn't get dates in high school. It's totally delusional to think that sex with a metal and silicon robot can replace the energy of the real thing. And these designers do not consider male fluids. Where are all the fluids going to go? Who cleans up afterwards with sex with a female companion? Sounds very messy and unappetizing. If these technical perverts were realistic, they would realize the male companions might be much richer market. Males for females, not females for males. The problem of creating male robots is a problem of creating vibration, not ejaculation. So male robots could satisfy women and not be messy in the process. This is all not necessary because with 20 to 40 million people unemployed, just like in every other depression, economic disruption, and other disasters, women and men will be thrown out into their own resources, and the amount of prostitution will be enormous. Why look for female companion robots when you have unemployed females for sale, or male for sale? Let's not be sexist about it. That is the illusion of boys that couldn't get dates. Think of something more important like agriculture. Agriculture is less sexy, but more important. Trump already attempted to use crops with tariffs as political weapons, but failed. 94% of the U.S. soybean crop is now decaying in warehouses. Cartels can use germs delivered by robots like corn blight, wheat rust, and other things to destroy crops and invest in the commodities market in futures and make a killing. A great way to make a fortune is to disrupt the food supply. To be old-fashioned, people will think about prosecuting criminal use of robots. But robots cannot be prosecuted as a culpable entity. Robots are not human entities, and so you cannot take a robot to court. If it's not clear who the designer of the robot is, then you can't prosecute anybody. We're heading headfirst into a dirty apocalypse. We need to create new think tanks of the others with criminal experience. Nerds, academics are divorced from urban reality and have failed with a stunning lack of imagination about the future of robotic intelligence. It's important that we understand and prepare for the ingenious bad guys and criminals with using artificial criminal intelligence or we will be victims. The many will employ, many people will employ artificial criminal intelligence, particularly as the army of unemployed gets larger and larger. My name is Jeffrey Dewgarden. I'm living in southern Mexico, and I have been exposed to different ideas about artificial general intelligence and the criminal class than many of the people and universities in the United States.